Let's start. Today, my verse is Srimad Bhagavatam 2.5.42. So let me start with Thanksgiving. I want to thank our circle circle leader, His Grace Matrapati Prabhu, and my Siksa Guru, uh, His Grace Varha Kripamay Das Prabhu, for giving me the opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam and purify myself. I want to give my respectful obeisances to our dear Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada so that I get the wisdom to speak as it is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, as I hear from the senior leaders and senior Vaishnavas. जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ, जय गिरिवरधारी, जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज विहारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरवनचारी, यमुना तीरवनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय हो गंधर्विका गिरिधारी, गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरि, जय हो लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा, जय हो अनंत देव लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा, जय हो अनंत देव, जय हो प्रहलाद महाराज, जय हो भक्त प्रहलाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद, निताय गौर हरि बोल, निताय गौर हरि बोल, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं, यत्कृपातम् अहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। Let me share my screen. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, verse 42. भूर्लोकः कल्पितः पदभ्यां, भुवर्लोकोऽस्य नाभितः, स्वर्लोकः कल्पितो मूर्धना, इति वा लोककल्पना। भूर्लोकः कल्पितः पदभ्यां, भुवर्लोकोऽस्य नाभितः, स्वर्लोकः कल्पितो मूर्धना, इति वा लोककल्पना। Synonyms, word by word meaning. Bhurlokah, Bhurlokaha, the entire planetary system of Patal and to the earthly planet system. Kalpitaha, imagined, Pad, Pad, Padbhyam, situated on the legs. Bhuvarlokaha, the Bhuvarlok planetary system. Ashya, the universal form of the Lord. Nabitaha, out of the navel abdomen. Swarlokaha, the higher planetary system begin with the heavenly planets. Kalpitaha, imagined. Murdana, from the chest to the head. Iti, thus. Va, either. Loka, the planetary systems. Kalpana, imagination. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Others may divide the whole planetary system into three divisions, namely the lower planetary systems on the legs up to the Earth, the middle planetary system on the navel, and the upper planetary system Swarloka from the chest to the head of the Supreme Personality. Purport. The three divisions of the complete planetary systems are here mentioned. 14 are imagined by others, and that is also explained. ओम तत्सत् ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाय शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्री वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुत्पत्कमलं सॉरी ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाय शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुत्पत्कमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहिगणा श्रीरघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहिगणा श्रीललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छ कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So this verse, let me stop sharing my screen. So this verse actually concludes the whole chapter. This is the last verse, and the chapter name is "Cause of All Causes." So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a call of cause of all causes. And here, Srila Prabhupada concludes that Krishna uh, is I mean all this complete universe which we have understood in last couple of verses is rests upon him. So in this verse we can understand that the whole universe is resting upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whether you consider this as 14 planetary system or divide it into three planetary system, the point here is that it rests upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada says that in the purport. Some people divide this into 14 planetary systems, some people divides into three. But that division is based on the angle of the vision. But the conclusion never changes. The conclusion always remains the same. That is conclusion always remains the same. That is the that is that everything whatever in this material universe is resting upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is the purpose of this universal form? That is Virat Rupa. So this material world is extremely complex, and his Holiness Chandrasekhar Swami Maharaj says this in his lecture that this universe is practically designed to hide its own origins. So it generates a wheel of material energy that keeps conditioned soul bewildered by the temporary forms. So what he is trying to say here is that this material world hides how it through the covering of Maya, so that we don't uh, get connection to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This keeps us bewildered uh, in the material world in the material world itself, so that we get entangled into the material world. so many scientists, they are continuously doing so much of research, but still they are not able to reach to a conclusion. They are able to reach to the certain extent, but they are not able to go beyond that. Even though they have reached to the space, they have put so many satellites there, they have used so many uh, equipments to reach to understand this universe, but they are not able to do so. They see so many different things. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly mentioned that this is how the universe is, and this universe is none other than Krishna's Virat Rupa. And but material world, the people who are in this material world, they never want to accept this conclusion. They want to, they want to what you call, they want to do the experiments on their own, and try to understand this material world in his own terms, in their own terms. And that is the covering of Maya, which is being talked about, which Maharaj is talking about here. So this so because of this uh, complex material world, what people thinks, like they try to designate themselves based on their body. So they say, they get false upadhis. Okay, when we look at this universe, they say that we are I mean, let some people say that we are Americans, we are Indians, all these things. They link themselves based on the small tiny part of this material universe. They don't, what you call, broaden their vision, or broaden their uh, mindset to understand the full form which is written in Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is not their fault. That is because their senses are limited. And if you I'm not sure if you have heard about this story or not, but there is a story where some four blind men goes to an elephant, and one person touches the trunk, one person touches the tail, one person touches the body, one person touch the legs. And what they do, they the person who touches the trunk, he says it looks like a snake. The person who touches the tail, he says this is like a rope. The person who touches the body, he say like this is like a big wall. The person who touches the legs says these are the pillars. But what is that? That is elephant. Their vision is incorrect. They are able to, they are able to imagine based on what they are experiencing. The similar thing is happening with the material, in this material world. The scientists, the people, they are just trying to imagine everything based on their limited vision, or the limited capacity what they have. And that is why they are not able to conclude who is the who they are not able to conclude, or they are not able to inquire who is behind this material nature, who is the origin of this material nature, the nature which we see. But here, Prabhupada concludes that cause, and even Brahma says that cause of all causes is Lord Vishnu. Brahma says in Brahma Samhita that uh, um, I'm forgetting the verse, but it concludes that the cause of all causes. So the point here is that we don't have to uh, link. We we need to create inquiry, because we have been into this human form. We need to generate inquiry and understand who is behind this. All these things are not running automatically. Who is behind this? Scientists are putting that inquiry, but they are putting that inquiry in a wrong direction. They are trying to find, uh, instead of realizing the supreme personality of Godhead, the supreme force, they are just trying to they are just trying to manipulate in their own terms. They say like Big Bang theory, right? The world came on its own, but that's not the case. That's not the case here, right? So the Virat Rupa here is the conceptual bridge. It connects that formless, unmanifested material energy to the original, that two-arm personal form of Krishna. So let me share a story here. That is from chapter 11. Uh, about Arjuna, because we are talking about the Virat Roop here. And if you remember in chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita also talks about Virat Rupa. So what happened in chapter 11? Um, the this in from like in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna actually spent 10 hearing 10 chapters from Krishna again, and Krishna was describing again and again that his glories are unlimited and he is the source of everything, that sun and moon are his eyes, and so on and so forth. He was explaining, but in Bhagavad Gita 11.3 and 11.4, Arjuna says, Krishna, if you think I am able to bear it, then please show me that form, show me that universal form that you are describing. So what Krishna says there, that you cannot see it with your ordinary eyes. So I have to give you the divine vision. And that is what he do. He provides the divine vision to Arjuna so that he should be able to see this. He should be able to see the form of Krishna. And what did Arjuna see? Once he got that vision, and Krishna showed his Virat Rupa. Arjuna saw everything at once, every planet, every god, every being, and sun and moon like his eyes, the blazing fire pouring from his mouth. Every direction of his space was filled with his form, and there was no beginning, no middle, no end visible anywhere. So he sees he sees there are so much he sees all the warriors, all the armies rushing into this gigantic form of the Virat Rupa. He sees the past, present, and the future, everything, whatever he couldn't have imagined, or whatever uh, so many things he was able to see in that small vision. And then uh, Bhagavad Gita 11.10 to 11.13, that describes this miniature, that every world, every level of existing contained within one body, that is the Virat Rupa. So how Arjuna reacted to this situation when Krishna presented his Virat Rupa to Arjuna. Arjuna was like, did Arjuna felt so happy, or did Arjuna reacted like a philosophical person? No, he was he was not calm, or he was not philosophical satisfied. He was not philosophically satisfied. He was terrified in that position. What he started trembling, and he says, my mind is disturbed. I find no peace. And what he asked for, immediately after that, he asked for, like, Krishna, please go back to the two-armed form, the form which I know, the form of my friend. And that is the lesson from this story, that the vast cosmic form or vision, that the vast cosmic vision of God, that one verse today we have seen in this map is real, that planet by planet, like 14 planets, whether we divide into 14 planets or in these three planets, and that understanding, that philosophy is real, and that also matters. But it expands our sense of who God is beyond our small, comfortable ideas. But it is not the destination. What we need to understand here is that it is it is not our destination. It is the relationship which meant to stay with us. So even Arjuna, who was given that extraordinary gift of seeing Krishna directly, asked Krishna to come back to the intimacy form, in the two-handed form. And that is the point here. That is the key takeaway here, that even by that we need to connect this vision, which we are also getting through the form through this Srimad Bhagavatam, which we, we need to bring it back to understand that this is just a way to connect to Krishna. We don't have to stay here. This is not our destination. We need to move forward and understand the personal form of Krishna. So generally what happens, when some devotees, the new devotees, when they come, they actually try to meditate upon these theory philosophical things. They meditate upon sun and moon as the Lord's eyes, and the planetary system as his body. That is what is being mentioned. So they start meditating upon all these things. But that's a neophyte state, and that helps that helps the devotee to spiritualize their vision, and that is the first step of realization. But that is not our destination. We need to understand that the beyond this, Krishna is in the personal form, and that is the beautiful form which we should also seek for. So what is so let me pull all this together. What we actually learn from this verse. So the learning is like, let me divide into that four key points. That is, first is the reverence of the for the whole, that every planet, every place, and every being, high or low, is part of the divine body. Nothing in this creation or stands outside of God. So that is our first learning, that everything, whatever it is, whether you consider that as high or low, or whatever you see in the material nature, everything is the creation of the God. So uh, it's like, I was hearing a lecture of Sarvabhauma Prabhu. He was mentioning, uh, even though it looks like Brahma has created this material world, but it's not that. The actual person who created this world is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how we can understand it in the layman terms, in the small terms. Brahma had just think of Brahma is like a chef who is working in the kitchen. The chef cannot prepare some delicious food without the ingredients, right? So someone has to provide the ingredients, that is like whatever you say, the wheat flour, the sugar, during our we when we do cooking, right, we purchase all the provisions and keep it ready in the kitchen. That is, once that provisions are ready, that vegetables are ready, then only we can start preparing the food in the kitchen. And that's the same point he brings here, that Brahma is like a chef who can prepare any delicious item, one tastier than one, like n number of tasty items. But that ingredients, that supply of ingredients comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So until that supply is not there, even Brahma cannot create this beautiful world. So all whatever this beauty which we see has been created by Brahma, but that ingredients are supplied by Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is what we need to understand here, that in everything whatever we see, this is the creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second point here is uh, about the learning is humility in the knowledge. So the Brahma, in this verse, we have seen that there are uh, in like there are 14 planet system explained at one place, and there are three divisions explained at one place. So it's not that there is a contradiction. It's not some people who doesn't go through like disciplic, I mean who doesn't study these scriptures under the guidance, they might get confused here. So this these are two different descriptions, and both of them connects to one. So that is what we need to understand. This is the humility in uh, explaining the creation of the God, or the Virat Rupa, or the whole universe in multiple ways, so that we can understand it. And then the third learning here is that vision before intimacy. The God's vastness is a stage, not the destination. Arjuna's story shows us the goal is always come back to loving personal relationship. And so that is our learning here. So it's not about whenever we are trying to know about the universe, we are just tiny part of it. If we start explain understanding it deeper, so it's considered like Brahma's one day is like so many like 71 Mahayogas. So if we go deeper into this study, there is so much to understand how this material world is, how this universe is, how big this universe. And you might be surprised, or you might be knowing, right, this is just one small universe which is headed by one Brahma. There are so many other Brahmas are also there. So there are so many such universes are there. So it's all material world, and there is a spiritual world behind this. So all these manifestation you might trying to understand, but what we need to remember here is this, that this is just form, this is just way to connect or bring our consciousness back to Krishna. The two form the two form personal form of Lord Krishna. We don't have to stay put our destination here. Even though we can understand it, we can just think about how beautiful Krishna is, that he has created such a beautiful universe. And that last is equal respect for all stations. Legs, navel, and head all are indispensable parts of one body. In the same way, no person in life, their job, their status, their background makes them lesser part of the whole. We meet with so many people, and in this material world, you have seen people, the material outside, that people, they are treating someone differently, the other person differently. The person who has so much of money, they treat that person with so much of respect, but the person who is just begging at the footpath, they treat that person so badly. But it Krishna never discriminates anyone. All these, whether you consider legs or you consider the head, all is all his everything is part of his body, and he sees everyone equally. And that is the quality which devotees also acquire. Devotees never see anyone based on their class or their social status. They see that this they even the animals, they see them equally. They see that the minute spark, which is the soul, everybody has got the soul, and that soul is the soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So they don't discriminate here. So that is what we need to understand. Even though that whether it is low or high, we should not discriminate anyone. So I'll quickly take 2 more minutes to explain what how we can actually in real life application, how can we apply this verse, and then I'll conclude. So uh, the first thing we can which we can learn as real life application from this verse is, uh, next time whenever as I just explained, right? So the next time you're tempted to judge someone as beneath you or feel small next to someone above you, just bring this verse into your mind. So think it like everyone you meet um, occupies a place in the same body of God's creation, and that person or that everyone deserves that respect. The second learning, which second real life application could be is oh, sorry the second real life application here is that when you hear scriptures explained differently by different teachers, or or when someone describes their spiritual experience in a completely different framework than what you have realized, don't resist yourself, and because they might be providing that experience based on their own vision. So you instead of like arguing or like rejecting something, you can actually ask like what shared truth is each what each person is what truth he has realized, and what he's trying to connect to. We should see the conclusion, not how the experience matters. So if the conclusion is reaching to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we should accept that what you call that that experience or realization from everyone. And the third one is, once a day or just for 30 seconds, uh, mentally zoom all the way out, picture the entire universe, all of it resting within the Lord. It is remarkably quick antidote to getting swallowed by small daily anxieties. So this way we can realize ourselves that okay, we are just tiny part of this whole gigantic creation, and I am just like a small, not even a small ant in this material world. So that is with this I conclude, and I'll just want to provide a small acronym here. That is Virat. V stands for vast. I is I is for imagined models. R is for rest in Him. A is for all are one body. T is for transcendent to intimacy. So vast imagined models, rest in Him, all one body, transcendent to intimacy. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Rituraj, for your nice class. It's very interesting. And at the end, you also gave an acronym for Virat. Yeah, so everything rests in the body of the Lord. So people are able to understand. They can read Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay, so mostly all the Lord's creation has been divided into three categories, three divisions: lower planetary systems, middle planetary systems, and upper planetary systems. That's what this mentioned. So though the purport is only one line, Rituraj Prabhu has nicely explained with his dedicated preparedness. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. If anybody has got any questions or any other doubts, you are welcome. So with this, we have completed the cause of all causes, second canto, the fifth chapter. So next class we will start the new chapter. I congratulate each and every devotee who has heard and who has given his class with a lot of preparation and hearing other lectures to gather some points. So in this way, the speaker, the audience, the place, everything is purified. It's become transcendental. So the next class, I think tomorrow is Ratha Yatra in our ISKCON Narsimha Mandir. Then Monday we will begin the second canto, sixth chapter. That is Purusha Sukta. Purusha Sukta confirmed. This is the Lord Brahma Vivata there. So we will hear what Lord Brahma will say. Okay, so anybody would like to add some points? We all please come on the video.